Why isn't my painkiller working? It's a really good question. I think it's really important for people with pain in general, or people with severe pain. People with severe pain tend to be more people who are on things like opiates and other medications, but each to their own in their toleration. But why isn't my painkiller working? So guys, my name is David, and I just want to put it out there that I understood this information because I suffer with intractable pain disorders myself for 22 years. Sorry, see if I do the math here. 22 years. So I understood these concepts because I had to live them out, and because I learned harsh lessons. That is the reason I'm making this video. So I thought I'd put this out that I am a certified recovery coach, both for addictions and also mental health behaviors. So no, I'm not a counselor. I can't do those types of things, but I can help guide people through motivation that you already have to this isn't why I'm doing this video, but I'm letting you know that I am. And if you're in a spot where you feel that you're overwhelmed and you don't know what to do, feel free to contact me. I'll leave an email in the description box so you can reach me. So I do suffer with a lot of pain. Sorry, certified recovery coach for addictions and behavior, and I'm at the end of my second year right now of health sciences addictions counseling. So, obviously I've looked into these things with my studies, so obviously. I'm going to give you my experience, which happens to be a horrible experience, and I hope this doesn't happen to you, but I know for certain it happens to many people. Pardon me, I have trouble with my throat, as you can probably tell. I just have to give it a break sometimes. So picture the year that I took my first opiate. So I got pain in 2004. So we'll call it 21 years ago. And it's a long time. And it happened to be in a time when, although OxyContin had been out for 5 or maybe even 8 years, it wasn't, a commonly prescribed drug as it was starting when I started. When I started in 2004, that's when it blew up, like in the States and Florida and Canada, throughout North America. But it was really bad. It was really easy to get all over North America, but especially the United States. You could go to one doctor and go to another doctor, and they didn't track you that way. And there's many other conspiracies you could talk about that, whether about the opioid crisis, but that's not what this is about. So just so you know, OxyContin was sued for saying it's not addictive, and the formula is going to last 12 hours, and I'm a living testimony that it didn't. And although I'm in one of their lawsuits, I don't think I'll ever get anything from it. I don't know why. And I'll explain the best I can here. So I developed full body intractable pain in 2004 from a medication reaction, an indirect cause. My neck tore from convulsions from a very serious, something called the serotonin syndrome, from an antidepressant. And I had repeated convulsions it started in my neck, horrible pain in my cervical region, and it spread into my face. And if you've ever had suction sinusitis, it was like that, but on steroids. It was so much worse because I was already a sufferer of of that, so I knew what section sinusitis was like. And I could only hold my face for a number of weeks. And they put me on morphine, and they do the usual. They try the Tylenol 3, Tylenol 4, morphine, and then so it went. It started to go up, and it went to OxyContin, and my pain was so bad that I actually bought them on my own. I remember telling my parents, I'm telling you guys this is what I'm doing because I can't control this pain. So what I deal with is the equivalent to the pain suicide disease. It was just like, and over a number of months it spread to my body in like a general region. I couldn't hardly move my body. My muscles really hurt. My skin was on fire. And I could no longer wear the same clothes anymore. I don't want to get too far into this, but the lights got bright and it was very tough to move. And this was constant. There was no breaks in this. And I felt left out in the dark. And I believed after some time, they said it was worse than fibromyalgia, like the bad kind, because some fibromyalgias can be just as bad as CRPS. But I believed it was CRPS, but full body. It was only like 20 years later, 18 years later, that I finally got the diagnosis after, I won't even get into that part, but a very late diagnosis, because full body CRPS, they say, doesn't exist. And the diagnosing practices of these are so incredibly hard. You have to meet every requirement, and people were killing themselves. You can go look at that, CRPS, people killing themselves from incorrect diagnosing. That's one that's just really bad. So I finally got a diagnosis of nociplastic pain syndrome. So yeah. And then I'll just quickly say this, man, I have multiple intractable pain disorders. I have adhesive arachnoiditis in my legs, in my lower back. It's a spinal disorder. I have adhesions in my spinal canal attached to nerve roots into the canal wall. And so, anyways, so I'm giving you some clarification that I know what pain is like. It's the heaviest pain there is, worse than CRPS. And that's from the mouth of people who have CRPS, because there's also cross adhesive arachnoiditis and CRPS. Pardon me for 1 second here. Gotta take some water and get. So my pain was bad, and it was just really tough to control. And it was unfortunate that I was put on OxyContin. That's what I was put on, even though I was buying them off the street only at the beginning, because the pain was so bad. I wasn't doing that before. And within a year, I put up with this for a long time, and it was ruining my life. My pain was ruining my life, but this was and this is why they were being sued, because they said it wasn't addictive. It was the most addictive drug at that time. It was the fentanyl of then, and so it would, people could bite down on the cap and it would all come out at once, right? I mean, you can do that with any drug, but with that, it was especially, it would make you very high. That's what it would do. And, man, I just wanted pain control. That's all I wanted. And so, after the promise of OxyContin that was going to last 12 hours, this pertains to what I'm speaking about here, my main topic. Why is my painkiller not working? It was wearing off 7 or 8 hours into its life, but it promised 12. At first, my doctor didn't believe me, and I spoke with my brother last night. he was talking about things that his doctor wasn't believing him about, and I told him about this. I was telling the truth. It wasn't working after 7 or 8 hours. What's going on? And there wasn't a lot of information out about that because there wasn't the lawsuit going, and not only that, but like I told my doctor, and he almost mocked me. My pupils were getting large, but I was only taking the dose as I should. What's going on? I'm in tolerance withdrawal. You know, this is pretty frightening. This is making me sick. And I think I'll leave it there with that, with OxyContin. These things may be happening to you, okay, with other medications. But that's how I began with my own pain, with pain control. So unfortunate. And OxyContin made you feel like you wanted more and more and more. And it was wearing off on me. It was wearing off. And it may have been a mixture of things. It really may have been quitting on me. And so, you know, the definition would be hyperalgesia. Let's take a look at what hyperalgesia means. When you're taking your opiate, you feel like you need ever increasing dosages. What is hyperalgesia? So you have a condition where there's increased sensitivity to pain, causing normally painful stimuli to be perceived as more intense or painful as they should be. I got to see where it pertains to. Is a paradoxical condition where chronic or acute exposure leads to increased sensitivity to pain, making the pain worse than better. But it's, you know, a feeling also of needing ever increasing dosages to. Let me see. I'm going to look at that. To achieve the same thing. So, just give me a second here. So the pain goes up. So here's the question, okay? You start taking these medications, and they work for you at the beginning, right? And you're wondering why, you know, you're taking these doses, you're taking them at the proper times, I hope. But it just seems like either they're wearing off or that pain is getting worse. You may be dealing with this, that actually it could be making your pain worse, but I argue that you may not be doing the proper things. That was my case. And my case was what I would presume to be one of the worst, for this reason, that I had a very terrible abdominal injury that induced a very specific abdominal disorder that specifically makes opiates hard to work. And I'll just leave it at that. And so I had to learn, how do I do this now that I have this disorder? It put me under for years. I couldn't understand what was happening because I didn't know what the disorder was in my abdomen. So what do? What's happening in this? So when you get pain for the first time, and if it's bad, right, all you're looking for is relief. And people with CRPS, and, you know, especially things like adhesive arachnoiditis, because it might keep you on your butt for years. You might develop hyperalgesia. You'll feel like your pain goes up. Why? I believe it's because you're not being physically active. Not only that, but you're not doing like a holistic approach to your life. And it's understandable because you find yourself in a place where you're in so much pain. What do? I take this, it just dies off. Well, first of all, if it's bad enough, you'd probably put a short acting and a long acting together. Because for me, with my abdominal disorder, I went to short acting. I felt I couldn't use long acting anymore, and it was a huge mistake. I didn't have proper coverage throughout the day, and man, was it ever a big mistake. But it was also because of this disorder in my abdomen, and I went on a long road. So what do? You say, well, Dave, even these things you say, I don't feel like I can do. Okay, I'm 46 years old. I'll be 47 pretty soon, within a few months. So I'm heading towards my 50s. So if I'm more active than probably 98% of the people I personally know in my life. I will take that after this video. Just give me 1 second, okay? Hello? Oh, hey, Dr. Julie. I didn't know you called so early. You have like 5 more minutes. Oh, okay. Have to take the phone call. I will continue this video. Follow the link in the next one.